You're listening to Up the Turnpike with hosts Mitch Anderson and Matt O'Leary.
Hello and welcome to the Up the Turnpike post-game show. What's going on? Matt O'Leary alongside Mitch Anderson. Mitch, 7-game win streak has been snapped. It's over.
Where are my Tony D'Angelo undefeated people? Get Ray right off the hop. Cancel left and right. He blames Tony D. Of course, that's tongue-in-cheek, and I also do not blame Tony D for this. We'll get into the impact of having a bunch of newbies on the back end there, but yeah. I'm feeling all right. I had, like I told you, I had like 2 naps today, which is great. So I am energized, and it's only 8:50. Let's go. What about you?
Yeah, there you go. Early finish. Love that. So get to finish up here, watch the rest of the Grammys. So that's a win all around. Unfortunately, Islanders unable to keep their win streak alive. As we started with off the top, would have been nice to see the Misfit Isles go on the road to Florida and beat not only Tampa on the road, but then in back-to-back situation, play the Florida Panthers, but down Scott Mayfield, Matthew Barzal, and starting Jacob Skarek in his NHL debut. Can't say I'm all too surprised with this result tonight, Mitch.
No, and like Alan says here, we're light years behind the Panthers.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not too surprised considering the injuries, right? Like, where is it? Like Nick is saying, with all the injuries, it's almost like the hockey gods are telling us to sell. But you've got Dobson, Pollock, Mayfield, Barzal out of the lineup. And you played Sorokin last night, and he's been playing every night for the last 2 weeks, basically. So you put in an AHLer, and what did you expect?
It looked like that in net at times. And like there was an empty netter involved, and I don't think he was horrible tonight. We'll go through the numbers and all the goals here in a second, but you know, again, not crazy surprised by this result. We got a lot of goals to get through, so want to get started on this, Mitch?
Yeah, because it gets started almost immediately. I didn't even have time to see this one before I put the game on. It was ridiculous.
Before you could settle into your seat, 39 seconds in, Carter Verhaeghe scores his 13th goal of the season here. Just a tough turnover, man, and the Florida Panthers capitalize.
You turnover off of them pressuring our defenseman, right? Like, not even defenseman. I think it was Sippy there.
Yep.
Yeah, the 2-on-1 in the corner. Watch how they overcrowd him, right? That the overload. And then from there, we get lucky and then unlucky almost immediately. And welcome to the NHL, Jakob Skarek. You get a goal on you by one of the better teams in the league, if not the best team in the league. 39 seconds into your debut. Yippee! If I was his parents who are watching at home back in Czechia, I'm going, this is going to be a long night for our boy. I'm worried.
Yeah, they really threw him into the fire, huh? Like, hey, here's a nice soft landing spot. We're playing in back-to-back situation against the defending champions who score at will and put up a pretty nice beat down the day before against the Blackhawks and looked like they were going to continue to roll tonight.
Yeah, and it seemed that way, and it didn't let up in this first period alone. Before the second one goes in, they were up. I think it was 12-1 in terms of shots. I'm pretty sure that was the mark before the Islanders kind of put in a little bit of a push. But that first period was pure garbage.
Yeah, it was all Panthers. And as you mentioned, there would be a second goal by guess who? Carter Verhaeghe again. Just a little bit later, another turnover here, Mitch.
Yeah, just Kyle Palmieri not great with the puck there, and then just it was a decent save by Skarek, the first one, and he didn't get to the second one. I don't blame him at all. Look at the gap that he's got here. No one's closing up on him. Adam Pelech gets there like way too friggin' late, and then he gets the rebound. It's just unfair to Jakob Skarek in that first period. They did not insulate him at all, and I'm sure Patrick Roy had things to say about that.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Shots 14-5 Florida after the first period of play. So again, leaning in on total domination here.
Yeah, sucks indeed. It sucks.
It did suck. The first period was mostly really bad. As we said, shots 14-5. They had a ton of scoring chances. The Panthers did in the first period. It probably, honestly, could have been worse. after that first period of play. They could have been down by more than just 2 goals. So if you want to find some kind of silver lining, there's your silver lining for the first period.
Yeah, so like the shot attempts in that first period were 28-14 for the Panthers, all one way. They had 75% of the expected goals, 1.4 to 0.44 for the Islanders. Like even the underlying numbers saying like we we did not do well in that first period at all.
No, not at all. But they would come on strong in the second period, Mitch.
Yeah.
We can get into that. So Kyle McLean gets the Islanders on the board 3 minutes and 10 seconds into the second period here.
It's a great play by Tony D, right? He's got a lane. All right, well, I'm going to get it towards the net, and a fortuitous bounce, as our buddy Butch would say, and Kyle McLean is right there. Right? It's a simple stuff, which is one of like the reasons that we had Samuel Bolduc in the lineup for so long, because you're going, well, he's getting pucks towards the net in these specific situations, and then that on top of other things, he stopped doing that on top of other things, which is why he's no longer here. But it was a simple play by Tony D. I'm glad he did it, because if you don't, that puck's not getting there, and there's no chance for Kyle McLean to get something on it.
And that's something we were asking for too for a while here, is for the Islanders defensemen to put more pucks towards the front of the net, especially with guys in front. And Kyle McLean put himself in a good scoring position, and he finds the back of the net, and suddenly it's just a 1-goal game after a pretty rough start.
Yeah, so like you have some life, right? Like it was a bad first period. I thought throughout this second period, the Islanders obviously score a couple more here that we'll get to. You obviously see that. But they did a good job of managing the flow of the game, right? They weren't, obviously they lead in shots, but the Florida Panthers still had a presence in that second period. But they did well matching them in that second period until the very end when the wheels just fell off. But for like 16 minutes, they did really, really well in that second period. And it started with these simple plays at the beginning.
How about this, Mitch? A power play goal from JG Pageau. In this economy, here we go. JG Pageau on the power play gets one to go.
Yeah, so the puck gets to him, and we just kind of work it here. So good stuff. Again, pucks towards the net by Chalowski. That's all you're supposed to do. And then you scramble and you pop one in. They don't ask you how. They ask you how many. And this was a great one for that.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily pretty, but again, follow the pass, really. Not that he took the shot, but go towards the front of the net, and you have the numerical advantage, and it ended up working out this time for the Islanders.
Yeah, so you're halfway through the game, and now you're tied, and you're saying, okay, we still got another half of the game to win this goddamn thing. I thought they're going to do this friggin'. They're going to win 9 in a row and sweep Florida, or sweep the Florida series, if you will. I really thought there was a potential, because they were playing that well, and they weren't playing in a way that was unsustainable, considering how that they had just played the last night. So you're thinking there's a real chance that they can really parlay this into yet another win if they keep it up. And then they do the goddamn thing 4.5 or 5 minutes later. Mark Gatcomb can't stop friggin' scoring.
Yeah, so he comes out of the box, gets a little breakaway opportunity. That one doesn't go, but then you get a ridiculous deflection here that puts it in the back of the net, and the Islanders lead 3 unanswered.
Yeah, man. The cross-body pallet down type of thing to make sure he's getting enough wood on it for it to hit down. The hand-eye coordination on those friggin' things, as you all are very well aware, you've watched hockey. The fact that you're hitting this thin little puck with a thin little stick that's about as thick as a puck itself in the middle of the air as it's going almost 100 miles an hour is insane to me. That's so wild. I couldn't do that for the life of me. I'm a decent hockey player. I could never do that. I can never do that, which is insane. I can't believe that these guys do this. And at this, not only at the speed that the puck is going, but at the speed that the game is playing, you're having to make all these other computations in your head of what's going on. And then to have that wherewithal to tip that down, insane stuff. Love it from Gatcomb.
Love it. And 3 unanswered, things you love to see. Unfortunately, that would not last very long. About 3 minutes later, Evan Rodriguez ties up the game for Florida here.
And we took our foot off the gas. Again, see, they're overloading us. So we're losing a puck battle down low, and that's where it all begins. They cycle it from high to low or right into the slot. Sorry, I thought they were going right to the point. And then it's in. It's just these simple things that we're breaking down on at 17:52, right? We got only a few minutes left in this period. It's going back to what the Islanders were. Almost like Tim is saying here, back to reality here on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't go into a slide 3 tough games before the break. Yeah, that's true. We got a big break coming up like every other team.
They do have the break for the Four Nations tournament, so we'll see, how they fare over their final 3 games before that break. And as pointed out by Tim, some tough opponents too going into it. One more goal. This one really felt like the backbreaker to leave that period down 4-3. Sam Reinhart scores his 31st of the season. What a year it's been for him.
Yeah, bad. That was a bad play by Tony D. And then they just get kind of caught giving these players way too much space. Romy just can't cover to Chuck at all. And see, they're overlapping. Look at all that space over where what is it? 42 Forsling is. Can't have that. You can't have that at all. So, but it is what it is. Like this, I kind of preface as the beginning of the episode or the live stream. We are talking about a player who's only been here for a handful of games. So I'm not going to shit on Tony D for that play. Like these things happen, breakdowns happen in a game that is played this fast. So I'm not going to crap all over him for that. It sucks. It sucks that it happened, but like, it's not, well, here we go. Tony D, bad player, unbelievable. It's just a bad play. He'll probably learn those situational things, or they will learn how to communicate to each other to say, go here and go there, and then figure that out. But it's just, you're talking about new players filling in these voids. Mistakes were going to happen. This win streak was not going to last.
And those, at least Tony DeAngelo, like his defensive play, that's not necessarily his strong suit. He is more of an offensive player. So you're going to get plays like that, and you take the good with the bad. He had a point earlier in the game on the Kyle McLean goal, and it was a nice play offensively.
Absolutely.
Maybe give us one back a little bit towards the end of the period. It's, frustrating, but as you pointed out, one, it's going to happen because he's been here for all of 5 minutes and he's got to learn to play with this group. And then the second part of that is it's not the strength of his game anyway.
No, it's really not. So, and that's totally fine. I like how Empire is talking here, is saying like, this is the champions, right? In Florida Panthers. And we had Barzal and a night off before. We could have won this game, which is true. We're leading up to this point. Like, yeah, they're now up 4-3 at the end of the second period. But if we had our better players, maybe we eke something out. But we're now down 4-3 going into the third period, and I had lost hope now at that point.
Yeah, so did I. And unfortunately, things don't get much better in the third period for the Islanders. Maxim Siplikov would take a holding penalty, and almost immediately Carter Verhaeghe scores his third of the game for the hat trick on the power play.
Yeah, I thought Skarek did a bad job of tracking the puck, but
he did. He did not move well left to right here.
No, because he's too late getting there, and it wasn't that great of a shot. I don't think. I know the broadcast we're praising the shot, but they don't want to crap on Skarek, which is fair. Like, it's his first NHL game. What are we going to do here? But it is, to me, it's not, Skarek isn't necessarily the issue here. The issue is don't take that stupid penalty. Well, why are you taking that penalty, Maxim Siplikov? You don't need to do that. Just keep friggin' skating, bud.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it came back to bite them. They were down 5-3. The Islanders would go on a power play, and they would try to pull the goalie to have a 6-on-4 advantage. They were unable to score on that, and then eventually Matthew Tkachuk scores his 18th of the year into the empty net.
Yeah, they had us running around. We were really bad at this part of the game. From the time that Carter Verhaeghe scores and forward, we were really bad. Even with the extra player on the ice, we got outnumbered and we got beat in 50-50 battles all the time. It made no sense whatsoever. The only justifiable argument for that is, as Stater Survival is saying, when we're talking about the Siplikov penalties, that guys are tired. And when they get tired, they do stupid things and get penalties. Fair. Except for Siplikov. If there's anyone who shouldn't necessarily be tired, it's the guy coming off a 3-game suspension.
Yeah, and also too, penalties have been a bit of an issue for him this season too. So I think it's fair to pick on him for that because it's been a reoccurring theme. It's not like it was a one-time issue for him.
That's right, exactly. So, bad penalty by him and puts our AHL goalie in a bad position against a champion that's hungry to show that what they did against Chicago isn't a fluke by taking down the best team in the league right now at the moment in emphatic fashion with a 6-3 win.
Yep. So 6-3 final. We'll go through some game stats here and then get into the box score and your comments. 34 shots on goal for the Islanders to Florida's 33. Islanders dominant in the faceoff dot, 166.1%. Panthers 1 for 2 on the power play. Islanders went 1 for 3. 8 penalty minutes to the Islanders 6. Hits 28-12. Panthers with more. Block shots 16-12. Islanders with more. And then giveaways 18-14. Panthers with the 18 on the giveaways.
That hit count seems low. I'm not saying it's artificial, but like that surprised me, right?
Yeah, I thought it would have been a little bit higher, especially with Gakholm was playing in this game, and he usually dropped some pretty significant hit numbers, which he was only listed as 2 hits, which is low for him in this game.
Yeah, that is low. But the Islanders had most of the puck. Well, yeah, 64 shot attempts to the 63 of the Florida Panthers in all situations. If we're just looking at 5-on-5, then 49-50 in favor of the Florida Panthers. Like it was really 50-50 in terms of puck possession. You would think that those hit numbers would be closer to 50-50, but I guess when you don't have Scott Mayfield anymore, that takes him off. That takes off some hits.
Yeah, it's gonna change some things. So with that, let's get to our box score numbers. Who is leading the way for Islanders forwards in ice time tonight, Mitch? Who do we think?
I'm going to say it's Bo Horvat.
21 minutes flat. He was the leader by a significant margin. The next closest was Duclair at 18:09.
Okay, wow. Yeah, that's well off. Least, I'm going to say it's Pierre Engvall. I don't remember seeing him a whole heck of a lot.
It is Pierre Engvall, but it's more ice time than you probably think. 10 minutes and 6 seconds for Pierre Engvall.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's more than I thought, but still not a lot.
No, still not a ton. McLean 10:16, Gatcomb 10:46.
Yeah. Okay. Defenseman. This one I'm not sure. I want to say Romanov, but I feel like his ice time wasn't that high. I'm just gonna go with it because I don't have a better guess. I'm gonna say Romanov.
You nailed it. 23 minutes and 27 seconds led the way.
There you go. Okay. Yeah. And again, it makes sense. He's one of the only top 4 guys left outside of Adam Pelech.
Yep.
Okay. Least amount of ice time for defensemen. I'm going to say it's Scott Perunovich.
No, Perunovich played a lot, actually.
Okay.
21-24, which was 4th on the team. Chalowski was at 9 minutes and 50 seconds, which was the least.
Oh, Chalowski. See, he played so little that I forgot. 9 minutes he played.
Yep.
Whoo! A State of Survival got it right there. Chalowski
Yep,
pops it in. Good job. That's insane. 9 minutes. After all of that, right? Like, they don't want to play him. Holy cow, they don't want to play him.
No, hard to blame them. They don't really have someone that they could trust out there.
I mean, does Luke go out and get another waiver wire pickup and send him back to Bridgeport at this point?
I don't know. Personally, I would rather see Isaiah George out there than Dennis Chalowski. But I guess I understand why they did what they did with him.
Yeah, just get him to play, and then he scored right game 1, so that's awesome. Also, I think Yassi Nurmi, yeah, he scores today, so that's great. Another prospect scoring goals. Love to see it.
Jacob Skarek stopped 27 of 32 for an 844 save.
Okay. I wasn't looking forward to this. I didn't think that this was a great game to have him start. But like neither one would have been. So you give him the team that, might be tired, right? Tampa wasn't tired last night. Florida might be tired tonight because they played yesterday, and that's not what he got. So Patrick Roy had to roll the dice. He couldn't play Sorokin for both, right?
No, he wasn't going to. So he had to pick one. As mentioned, the Islanders' next 3 games before the break they're coming back home for one. They have Vegas on Tuesday, and then on the road against Winnipeg and the Wild. Oh,
is that a back-to-back, those two?
Friday and Saturday is, yes.
That stinks. A back-to-back against Winnipeg and Minnesota on the road. Oof.
Brutal.
Not fun. And a border crossing at this time. Holy hell. They better not have any ketchup chips in their bags because It's not going to go over well.
No, apparently not. All right. Want to get into some comments here before we call it?
Yeah, we've got a few. We've got quite a few. We don't have the numbers that we had yesterday, but I think it's Sunday.
Yeah, and after a loss too.
Yeah. Alan, I remember when Carter Verhage was an Islander. Guess he was too potent offensively for us. Trade 21, 29, and 44 before Four Nations is what he says. Yeah, fair enough.
Fair. I would expect 2 of those 3 to get traded.
Yeah, I think so as well. And then there's a lot of sentiments kind of sharing what Alan is sharing there. So listen, as much as I enjoyed the win, says Nick, we cannot give Lou any reason not to sell it because he'll take it. Fair.
Very fair.
Do you think he changes that this year? Do you think like he goes against what we think he might do?
I mean, I hope so for the Islanders' sake, right?
Yes, I think so. I hope so as well, that he tries to find as many wins as possible, and that's winning actual games and then winning by trading those players.
I would hope he's self-aware enough to realize what's going on here.
Yeah. Again, the Washington Capitals did it last year. The proof is in the pudding, bud.
They need to.
Yeah, Andre, all things must come to an end. Yeah. And then with all these injuries piling up, it's almost like the hockey gods are telling us to sell. Going back to that one. I already did that one. But still. What else we got? Cannot believe we played like that with Skark. Solid effort, but tired and a little scattered. We'll keep the good times rolling. I'm sure of it. Is this Orbican's dad?
Maybe that would make sense with all this positivity. We went through the schedule, 3 tough games. They don't play again till Tuesday, so they have a day off and they're coming back home. And then a couple days off before a little road trip out to Winnipeg and Minnesota, 2 really tough teams in the West.
What do you think about this from Andre? If Barzal is out long-term, they're done.
I don't disagree with that sentiment, but also a couple of years ago, we said the same thing and then they got hot. So, I mean, I get where Andre's coming from, but you never know.
I don't necessarily disagree. And I was the same. I did the same thing in my head as you. Like, oh yeah, absolutely. Well, wait.
Yeah. Well,
actually, year, right?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. So 2023, they trade for Bo Horvat. Horvat and Barzal look like they're clicking through their first, I don't know. I think they played 4 games together and then Barzal got hurt and missed essentially the rest of the regular season, if memory serves correct.
I think so. I think that's right. And I remember we came on the pod and we said if Barzal's out more than 6 games, they're done. They're not going anywhere, doing anything. And they started winning again.
We were very wrong. So listen, which kind of goes back. Can I connect the dots to another take that I have? And I think most people will agree with this. If you trade Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri and or JG Pajot, right? Like the names that were listed from Alan earlier, like no one's saying that you can't trade those guys and also play well down the stretch. That's especially because Nelson and Palmieri for most of this year, we can't say that they're massive net positives to this team.
Well, there's 17 games without a goal for Brock Nelson, and Kyle Palmieri wasn't too far behind that either, right?
Yeah, it was 17 and 15.
Yeah, so that's a lot of no-shows for 2 guys that are vitally important to our goal-scoring efforts.
Right. They should be more impactful to the Islanders than what they have been, I guess is the point that I was trying to make. Not that they suck and they're not going to get anything for them in trade, but it's kind of the opposite of that.
That's right.
Get your return while you can, because it's not working right now with those 2 here.
Yeah. And then a couple of sentiments that are shared. All in all, not a bad effort with Barzal and Skark and net. Streak was going to end eventually. And then Steve can't even blame Skark. Few defensive blunders. Back check was bleh. Overall, not surprised considering injuries in a back-to-back. But then at least Alon has some positivity here. They hit on the Panthers and the over.
Nailed it.
And I like this, throwing it in with the NBA talk. Like if Luka and Darren Fox, who's Darren Fox? Wasn't it Luka and...
Well, Fox was traded today. I can't tell you that I really know too much about. I know Luka's a star, so I know who that is. I don't really follow the NBA that closely, so I don't know much about Fox. But he got traded right before we started recording.
Yeah, I don't know who Darren Fox is. Darren Fox, sorry. But anyways, he's right. That's a big, massive trade. Luka Doncic, Anthony David, whatever. Luke can definitely trade those guys. Absolutely, 100%.
What do you think the NHL equivalent is of a trade like that?
of like Luka and Anthony Davis,
Yeah.
David or whatever. It'd have to be like Nathan McKinnon being the Luka Doncic, and then Anthony would be Sid, right? Because Anthony's a little bit older, is he not?
Yeah, he's 32.
Okay, so maybe not quite Sid. Maybe like Malkin 3 years ago.
Okay. And then like a second or something like that.
Something like that.
It should be weird. That would be so weird.
It'd be something like maybe I got the wrong star. What are your
I was
names
thinking
to bring
the
up?
name. I saw someone mention Drysdale as the name for Luka, and I was like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Because what Drysdale's second or third best player in the league, probably,
Yeah.
and Luka's probably the second or third best player in the NBA. For I don't know. I'm trying to think of someone who's like good but aging and not in their peak. I don't
But
know who'd
still
be a
pretty
good-
goddamn good, right? I think I assume, again, I don't know anything about the NBA, but the name itself has recognition, so I assume he's pretty good.
He's good. He's good defensively.
Okay, that doesn't help me at all.
I don't know.
Alexander Barkov, there you go.
Okay, fine.
Right, kind of. He's not bad, but like good defensive player, puts up points still. So something like that.
Can I share something before we get out of here? Because I saw this pop up on Twitter and it didn't
Yeah.
really make sense to me, but I want to toss it up here.
Absolutely.
Deserve to win
wow.
meter. Islanders 79.7%.
That seems high.
That does seem very high. It didn't. The first time comment I agree with didn't look like that watching it. I tend to agree.
I mean, the expected goals are really in the Islanders' favor, 515 to 395 in all situations. So they have 56.6% of the expected goals, which is not 70. But like they should have scored more than they gave up.
So if
Clearly.
Sorokin starts this game, they win. Is the take?
I don't want to make this about Skarek, but probably.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not like crapping on Skarek. It's just I think he steals a couple of goals that we saw go in today. Yeah. From Nick, we need to the fan base needs to come back down to earth. Tonight goes to show us that this team is a below average team without Sorokin. The focus should be on trading the pending UFAs and retool. I think that's a bit harsh. A bit.
It does feel. I mean, that's where we were for most of this year. Before this streak, and I'm not saying this streak like completely 1,000% changes how we feel.
Mm-hmm. No,
Sorokin obviously makes this team significantly better when he's playing like he has.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of us came off or at least anyone on this show, me or Mitch, I don't think came off of. They need to hold on to now Kyle Palmieri and Brock Nelson.
No, they could be surging in the standings, and I would still say, great, you've got a good core. Still do it. You still have to do it.
Tinker around the edges, right?
Absolutely. Like you have that. Do it. Ray says, hot take: Tony DeAngelo's the new Robin Leonard. A troubled soul comes to the island and finds redemption. That would be awesome.
I would hope that. I hope so. I hope for his sake and our sake, I hope that's the case.
Yeah, like that would be best case scenario. Honestly. And then he, I don't know, repents or something like that. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I need from him.
Yeah. And I was gonna say too, like he's played mostly well too since coming here. So
yeah.
that's half the battle.
Exactly. Andre's wondering how long the two guys are gonna be out there. Who freaking knows?
Know. We'll find out on Monday, apparently.
There you go. Well, that's weird. Bright side, Canadians, Jackets, Flyers all lost, so we don't lose ground there. Or
all right,
they don't leapfrog us.
Positive spin. I'll take it.
Absolutely. Then we got a few more, I think. There you go. Do you guys think Lou has something up his sleeves? Because when players get healthy, I don't think Lou will just waive the players he just acquired. Something's got to give.
They're gonna have to move. Someone's gonna have to move out.
Yeah, he might have to. And maybe the hope is like I waive them and no one picks them up because no one else but us were gonna pick these guys up.
What about Dobson?
Yeah.
Traded? No, I'm not saying trade him to just like for picks or anything, but what if I'm trying to think because it's probably someone on the blue line with all the guys they just added defensively.
I mean, Chalowski right away. I think he'll play maybe two righties out of or one righty out of position.
That's fair.
because like Chalowski's gone. That's the second any of our defensemen come back, Chalowski's gone, and then one of Perinovic or Boquist rides Pine, or not even Pine, but rides the bleachers. I imagine, and then who knows?
From there, we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Sloppy losing it to do anything until after the break, regardless of the results from now until then.
I would like to see something happen before the break, but I tend to agree with Sloppy here.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he'll wait to see if the value goes up and really get as close to the trade deadline as possible to see if he can get someone, not to panic buy, but to get those values up, because the value is already pretty high on all the guys he's looking to move. It's just, can he squeak out a little bit more value? I'm sure he's got like 3 or 4 trade packages that he's, humming and hawing about right now. And it's just, which one do I want to pick and how long do I want to make them sweat until they up the ante?
I hope that's the case. Or maybe he's hanging up the phone. Maybe he's going, I don't want to trade you, Brock Nelson.
Exactly. As some sort of long gone.
F you. Click. Click. Do we think he has a cell phone, or is he rocking like the cord phone?
Oh no, he's got. Well, you mean in the office?
Yeah. I'm thinking he definitely has a cell phone, right? Like we've seen the pictures of him at the draft. He's got the double phones going. Yeah. But I feel like he still uses his office number. People like,
I'm sure
they got to call that line, or maybe they don't call that line, but he's calling using that phone when he's on the island.
Do you think he has like one of those physical Rolodexes again? Or still?
I hope so. I really hope so. I don't. That illusion has to stay. I don't want to think of like Lou Lamoriello just going through contacts. I need to visualize him flipping through the Rolodex.
Yeah.
Or index cards, maybe.
Yes. Oh man, absolutely. As old school possible, please.
Beautiful.
Just call in the secretary, then she's got it because he doesn't even know. There you go. Like Ray says, carrier pigeons.
Nailed it.
Done. Perfect. That's that, buddy, on this one.
All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We got a podcast dropping tomorrow night on the Patreon, so sign up for that. We'll have videos coming out on the channel as well as our next post-game coverage on Tuesday. But for now, I'm Matt, he's Mitch, and we'll catch you next time.